Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Strengthen Your Security with Carbon Black App Control. My name is May Zidane from MBCom Marketing Team, and I'm delighted to be your host for today. Just before we begin, please keep your microphones muted during our session, and for sure you can use the chat box at any time to share your questions. We will be having dedicated time at the end for the Q&A. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Omar Ismail, Pre-Sales Consultant at MBCom. Omar has a deep expertise in carbon black, and he will walk us through today's topic. Mike is yours, Omar.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone can hear me well.
We do.
Perfect.
Thank you, Omar.
All right, let me share my screen.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I think it's time to start, so I'll just dive right in. My name is Omar Farid. Okay, so I work in MBCom as a senior solutions engineer. I manage the region for Egypt and Levant. Today, we're going to be talking about carbon black app control. And one of the key things that I like to always discuss when we start talking about app control is the idea that the concept of zero trust. You know, we always hear zero trust being mentioned everywhere. And one of the key things that we mention in zero trust is to always validate and not to trust blindly, okay? So one of the key features that actually allows you to do this is using app control. Our app control allows you to do a lot of things. We're going to mention this throughout the session. The session will include, we'll start with a presentation. I'll discuss all the features, high level, of course. We'll discuss all the technology, how it works. I'll share some of my experiences based on actual setups or actual POCs and labs done with customers. Also to mention how you can actually use this live and how fast you can get this up and running. Okay. And finally, of course, we're gonna have a short demo. We're gonna go through some of the use cases live to show you how it works, and also the interface so you understand the kind of reporting and the kind of logs you will be able to have. Okay. So I'll start. So one of the first things always in most presentations, as you know, is numbers. So one of the biggest risks of data breaches is, of course, the cost. So a lot of customers, and this is information done through multiple vendors, is the idea of how much does it cost an organization when they do lose some data. Okay, so we're talking approximately $5 million. This is actual numbers based on an IBM report done in 2024. So this is something that hasn't been done for a long time ago. This was just last year, and these numbers are actual numbers. So this gives you an idea of, you know, the kind of thing we want to prevent and how we want to prevent it. Okay, and this is actually where zero trust comes in, because a lot of these data breaches, they happened, or a lot of them might have happened through, you know, users not knowing what they're doing, or an attacker hijacking a user session, stuff like that. So the idea itself is, how do we protect this and prevent losing our data? Okay, so I'll start with the idea of Broadcom. How Broadcom acquired Symantec and how it acquired Carbon Black from VMware. So, of course, our portfolio in Broadcom is really big. It's a security portfolio. This is just the security portfolio also, not software or others. I won't mention Symantec. We'll go straight to Carbon Black, but this is the history combined, all of it together. Carbon Black, and this is actually a very interesting thing to know, is that Carbon Black started as Bit9 in 2002. I'm not sure how many people know this. Bit9 was actually a joint technology done with MIT and NIST. Okay, so NIST generated a requirement for MIT students to deliver some kind of security, because the US government at that time identified how security is not just antivirus anymore, or just protection, this kind of protection. We need something more advanced. We need something more proactive. So they brought out a requirement, and two MIT students actually developed this Bit9, and they got the grant for it. Okay, so that's actually a nice history I've always liked to mention for my customers. So Bit9 started 2002, 2014, and that's the app control mainly. 2014, Carbon Black acquired Bit9. Bit9 was, Carbon Black was, of course, one of the leaders in EDR. It acquired Bit9, and they combined into Carbon Black together. At 2016, Confer was added to the portfolio. Confer was actually a cloud EDR technology, and it was integrated and now became Carbon Black Cloud. Okay, 2019, VMware acquired Carbon Black, and of course 2023, that's when Broadcom acquired VMware as a full company, and it actually segregated the security part from VMware into our ESG part, which is the security group for Broadcom. All right. Just to highlight, if anybody needs any questions or any information, I'll try my best to answer at the end of the session. So just write your questions in chat, and we'll check it out before we start the demo. We'll go through some of the questions, and then as time allows, after the demo, we'll have even more questions to answer if it's okay. All right. So next we go to endpoint and workloads. So right now, what we have at this moment is a full portfolio. The full portfolio includes how we do security, okay? How we secure our environments, how we secure our endpoints, how we secure our workloads. Carbon Black provides basically a unified platform when it comes to on-prem and cloud. The unified platform mainly focuses on EDR. It includes a lot of features, a lot of functions. As you can see, the interconnected features, they start from vulnerability assessment all the way to network analysis and visibility. Okay, I will go through, not through EDR or Carbon Black Cloud. I will go through the on-premise app control solution. Okay, so on-prem at this moment is only available on-premise. There's a lot of reasons for this. And one of the biggest reasons is the security part and the quick action part. All right. Okay, so just to mention something, I'll mention this again later, but I think it's interesting to know that our solutions, they work on almost any operating system and in any environment. Okay, I will mention this again later. Just keep this in mind while we're talking. All right. So this slide, I'll just stop here for a minute. I just want you to see some numbers. These numbers are not also just general numbers. This is a study done between us and Forrester. Okay, this is an actual study that shows a lot of technologies in comparison, not just Carbon Black App Control. It talks about security in general. So if you can see the idea of future-ready protection, once you implement Carbon Black, you actually get 75% reduction in mean time to response. So what this means is you're basically preventing attacks or getting closer to what kind of attack you have. Of course, this includes some of the EDR as well, but it works for both, because you actually prevent unknown applications from running. We'll talk about app control next straight away, but you start protecting your environment immediately. And this is why you become future ready immediately. Okay, and this, of course, minimizes the kind of time needed from administrators, from security, all kinds of teams, and enhances the function. The second thing is operational confidence. So one of the things that we've seen, and just a quick mention, I used to be a customer maybe 10 years ago. And one of the things we've seen by myself and included with my customers as well is actually that they have a lot of re-imaging issues happening. So what does that mean? One of their users had a laptop. The laptop he moved outside the organization, got infected somehow. Could be, ransomware, could be some kind of malicious behavior. Even if he has an AV, of course, we all know that nothing is 100% secure. So what happens is you have to re-image this machine, or you have to investigate what happened. You have to isolate the machine for a while. This takes time. This causes operational issues. It affects the business when they're working. So what do? We use our app control. We use, of course, our EDR to identify risks, but also our app control to prevent it from the beginning, which minimizes down to 55% less frequent re-imaging. Okay. Next is, of course, faster time to resolution. So faster time to resolution, as long as you understand and you have visibility on what's happening in your environment from app control, from EDR, both together, you actually get much faster resolution time. So instead of investigating an issue, not knowing what's going on, not knowing where the issue could be started from, okay, the root cause basically. So instead of investigating the root cause and losing a lot of time and effort to get there, you actually can save up to over 8 hours. It used to be much more, but this test has been done multiple times to get exact and validated numbers. So you actually save 8 hours per incident, which is a huge investment, a huge saver. Okay. And of course, finally, and this relates to these numbers and other things as well, part of the study, is you actually save 427% ROI over the next 3 years. So if you purchase app control today, you start utilizing it correctly within the next few months maximum, you actually have over the next 3 years, you will see actual return on investment. You will see clear results. And by the way, this starts from the very beginning, like maybe the first 2-3 months, you immediately start seeing huge improvement and results in your environment. Okay. Okay, so now we have basically this is one of the key slides when it comes to why we started with app control and why app control started in the first place. So let's put this into perspective. So we all know antivirus. We all know, next gen AVs, antivirus, EDRs, protection, all these things. So all these are actually considered negative security models. Okay. So negative doesn't mean anything bad. It just means how they work is by identifying a malicious file and blocking this malicious file. Okay. So basically you rate the technology by this. So you rate the technology by how often it blocks known bad events. And this is essential, by the way. So this is not something that we can replace easily. Some people say we can using app control, but honestly, from my perspective and from discussions with a lot of people, it's not recommended. It's always recommended to keep this, to have the negative security model fully implemented, and then elevate your security by using the positive security model. Okay, so positive security model, what it does is basically it adds this one layer that we didn't have before. You actually block and you control any files and any applications. It doesn't have to be known. It doesn't have to be trusted. It doesn't have to be malicious for you to block it. So you can block any file, any application. And this can happen for any vendor, for Microsoft, for even for Symantec. It doesn't matter. You can control what runs, how it runs, and where it runs. This is basically the core of the technology of a positive security model. Okay, and one of the key things also, it's not just applications, it's basically the user as a whole. So you control what the user is doing and what the machine is doing. So you basically control, for example, unwanted changes to files. You can control you don't have to just block it. You actually block it and view it. Okay, you report basically. This matches a lot of compliance that's available now, but this is something we'll look at as well, part of our demo. Also, you can allow, instead of blocking, and we'll talk about how we allow, how we block, and how it works a bit more later. But just the idea, the core of it, is basically you secure your environment against any files. It doesn't have to be trusted. It doesn't have to be malicious. It doesn't have to be malicious files. It doesn't have to be known bad files. It's any file, and you control this as an admin. Okay. And just for reference, because a lot of times when we mention this, a lot of you customers, they say, okay, but this means we're going to have a lot of effort to implement this. We're going to take a lot of time to do this setup. We're going to need a lot of administrators to monitor. We're going to need a lot of pre-existing, golden image or images or whatever it is. I'm actually here to tell you that no, that's not really true. And we will help you minimize this. And I'll mention this how. You can actually have our app control up and running within 3-4 days. And this is actually something that I've done in a POC with a customer live. And this is something that they were really surprised with. And we'll mention this, I think, in the next 2 slides. In this slide, there's something that I'd like to start with. It's the last line. I don't know if you see my mouse, my pointer, I mean. But the common criteria certification. Okay, so common criteria certification is a government-based attribute verification. So whatever we mention, it's not just us saying it's correct. This is actually criteria tested and certified by the US government and by multiple other entities, and is validated. So whatever I mention here, it's not something that, something that maybe I tested or some customer, we've seen, or something we are just saying it's there. No, this is actual certified information and function. Okay, so this is something that's very important to know. Okay, so let's go to what is Carbon Black App Control. So Carbon Black App Control is basically, from the name, it's application control. So you control the application, like I mentioned in the positive security model. You control the application. You create your own allow lists. You can actually have file integrity monitoring and control. Okay. You control the devices running on the machine. I know there's usually a lot of other technologies that do device control, but it's an add-on we have as well. We provide memory protection and registry protection as well. And I'll mention this now because I'm not going to show it in the demo, but just because I just had a customer mention this to me a few days ago. They had a technology that if one of their users, and they are able to do it, even if it's not an admin, accesses the registry and changes one key in the registry, it can cause an issue with this technology. It's a reporting technology. Okay. Of course, I'm not going to mention any names, but this is how it is. So what we did, very simple with app control, we just put this registry key. We input the feature that to control file integrity control or registry control. So the registry is no longer able to be changed, even if it's an administrator. And I will show you how we can control and minimize and mitigate basically the local admin permissions and roles that usually allow the administrator to do anything they want. Okay, including, of course, like I said, registry and memory, but this is not in the demo. Okay, so value of app control, we mentioned positive security model already. So this only, the idea of approving only or running only approved software, this is the core of the technology we will mention, we will discuss later. I will mention how, even though it sounds difficult to implement, how we actually help you implement this very, very easily. Of course, it will definitely need a lot of fine tuning, but in general, extremely simple, very easy to set up, very easy to implement and have up and running within a very short amount of time. Okay. The technology, the idea of a positive security model is the best kind of prevention against any file-based attacks. Okay. And in some cases fileless, but this is a different story. But in general, it's one of the best prevention against file-based attacks because no matter what kind of AV you have, and I will say AV, not next-gen AV, not the LDC, I'll just use the standard term. So no matter what kind of AV you have, you will actually get full protection against any file, even if it bypassed your security, even if it bypassed your AV. Okay, so it's totally controlled and totally secured through app control. Of course, the idea itself is called the default deny, just because, so if you say it, you understand the idea of default deny is denying anything by default unless it's approved. Okay, and yeah, so I think this covers most of the points we mentioned. One of the key things I think that a lot of people don't focus on is that this covers human error as well. It's not just insider threats. It's not someone who's trying to do something maliciously. A lot of times when you're creating our policies and controlling the applications, you actually secure against human error as well, because a lot of users, they would use an application, for example, to upload a file. It could be trusted, through your environment, and they're able to upload this file even if it doesn't violate your policy. They could download a file which initiates a risk against infection and all these things. So this actually we help you with by securing your environment. Okay. So why do we need app control? App control boosts productivity, and these are the things we mentioned. Let's say I'm just rewriting them to showcase the importance and to explain where they land in your actual environment, in your production environment. So when we're talking productivity, you minimize the re-imaging of any machine. You eliminate forensic activities, because even if you have the most advanced EDR, as long as the file or the application doesn't run from the beginning, no need for forensics, right? You don't need to keep investigating and understanding. One file ran, it started another application, which started a web URL access. All these forensic steps you no longer need it. So only the trusted applications are running, and they're only running the way you want them to. So this eliminates, or I'll say minimizes, any kind of forensic activities needed. Like I mentioned in the last slide, this is part of productivity, is the idea that we reduce the incidence of human error and insider threats. So they are definitely minimized. And again, I'll never say that Carbon Black App Control or any app control technology will provide 100% security, even though it's basically gets the closest to this kind of security, because it is the idea or the concept of zero trust as an agent. But at the same time, we minimize and we reduce any kind of incidents that pop up. So we enhance the productivity of all teams, all security, all business teams, okay? We also meet all compliance mandates. So there's a lot of compliance mandates like PCI, stuff like that. We actually help you match. For example, there's multiple banks in my region that the central bank enforces that they have to have app control implemented for specific teams or for specific applications, specific environments, stuff like that. And we help them with this, and they are now fully compliant. Okay. Of course, we also show you the assets. This is something I'll show you live. This is why I mentioned that sometimes we say we can actually replace your antivirus software. So this is something we can do. So for some customers, I actually know some customers who are using app control by itself or app control with Carbon Black EDR. And they consider this the full security. They don't have any other AV solution. For me, from the security perspective and the layered security approach and all that, I wouldn't really recommend this to a customer, but it depends on your need. If you need it, if you want it, you can actually do it, okay? We definitely match a lot of compliance mandates like FIM, File Integrity Monitoring, File Integrity Control, and device control as well. So if you want to control all these things from one central location, without needing to get multiple technologies, we actually have them here. And I'll show you how each one works. And of course, unique environments. This is something that's very important, and this is one of the key advantages of app control as well. We don't just do all these things for your live Windows up to Windows 10, Windows 7 no longer supported, Windows XP no longer supported, Windows Server 2003, 2008, all these things. We actually help you with it. We secure it for you. We apply full control. And this is actually why we clearly mention replacing an antivirus. So even if you have, let's say, and again, an actual use case. I have a customer who has in his environment a server that's running, I think it was Windows Server 2003, and they had an application there that they were not able to replicate. Okay, it was built on the Windows. They were not able to move it. They were not able to change it. So they needed to protect the server until they're able to do whatever changes they needed to do later. So what we did, we provided app control. Okay, so our app control provides basically everything we mentioned so far and controls the applications and secures the environment. So it keeps the machines running. It doesn't have to be, supported operating system. Any end-of-life system is running, would work. Of course, we have a lot of supported OSs, but even the non-supported is the same thing. Okay, not just end-of-life. We also do this for point-of-sale systems. So if you're a bank, you have point-of-sale systems. You definitely or most likely have an app control system already running. But then why not unify it? You would have a one unified environment that actually secures your point-of-sale systems or your kiosks, your ATMs, and any other fixed function device. Okay. Um, and it's all correlated and integrated into one interface. So you don't have to keep moving from the user app control machine or technology to server to end of life to point of sales, all these things. So this actually helps you with the unique environment and could be considered part of productivity if this is actually one of the use cases for you. And a lot of our customers are actually who use app control. Some of them are actually government entities, and they have air-gapped and disconnected networks. So what they need is they need some kind of security, full security that can fully work without any internet connection. Our app control does this 100%. Okay, maybe one of the features, which is basically the vulnerability management. We will see this in the demo. Would definitely need some kind of intermittent internet connection. It doesn't have to be live. It can be, let's say, once a week, once a month, whatever. And we will help you again with the compliance. All right. Hope everything is clear so far. Again, if anybody needs any questions, please just share it in the chat. We will get back to you as soon as we're done with the presentation. Okay, so security posture. This is our key point. So we have currently, or you have currently your own environment. You have a security posture level that's ready, that's implemented. Okay, it usually, most likely, does not include app control, or if it does, maybe includes it as part of an add-on to another technology or an add-on to another vendor. It usually doesn't provide all the things we'll mention now. We have a lot of things we can work with, and it's all managed from one single interface. And usually this is where we excel. Okay. So application control, this is one of the key functions, of course. Application and vulnerability inventory. So inventory is one of the things that I'd like to address by itself. We will see it in the demo. Inventory includes two things. Our application and vulnerability inventory includes two things, all right? So I actually give you visibility on files. I give you on all the files in your environment, basically. I give you visibility on all applications in your environment, and we can discuss the difference between files and applications. I give you visibility, and this is one of the key functions, the vulnerability of anything related to these files. Okay, and the vulnerability inventory is integrated with NIST. So we give you all the clear indicators of the risk basically related to this application. And we can also give you information from NIST and recommendations on how to resolve. Okay, of course, we do not do patching or resolving, but we give you the clear results or clear actions how to resolve this. Okay. We mentioned compliance and, of course, file registry, integrity, and control. One of the things that I think is important is understanding, and that's why I always have this, even though I might have mentioned it in the last slide overall, but this showcases how everything is running on the bare concept of default deny. So even if you have a vulnerability in an application, for example, you can actually either block the application or allow it. But this application would not be able to do any other actions, even if it's not, as long as this action is not approved, okay? So this is something that's very important as well. So default deny, that's the core function of app control. Okay, so use cases. These are the actual use cases we've done live I've done with multiple POC customers. We've done in multiple areas in the world, basically. So first is locking down critical systems. And by the way, this includes not just servers or anything like that. It also includes any SCADA system, any OT system you could have in your environment. Okay. One of the things I think someone mentioned in a message, just because it's related to this specific case, is does this replace any AV? Okay, even if it's semantic AV or anything like that, or does it work with it? This is a separate technology. Okay, it's dedicated app control. It works by itself. It can work with any AV, doesn't matter. There are some integrations definitely with semantic environment as a whole, but by itself, fully controlled, doesn't need anything else. Okay. Okay, so next point is the point of sale and fixed function device. So we've done this with a few customers, honestly, not too many, but we did do this before, specifically for kiosk machines for, I think it was a bank, and also a couple of ATMs, okay? Of course, a couple of ATMs that was in the POC, the customer definitely implemented it in production, that's a different story. Secure air gap networks, there is one entity in our region that implemented full app control, totally air gap network. They actually have inside their environment two networks, one that has internet access and one that doesn't. So they actually have two app control setups. One of them, because the two environment, they never communicate together. So the one in the DR, in the air gap network, totally secure, does not communicate with anything else, app control fully functional, okay? The one that's internet connected, they actually have it running, fully running, but they have even more advanced policies running there because this is where even the laptops and the users who access internet are available. So they have different use cases for both environments, and they're both running fully functional without any issues, okay? And definitely we have multiple end-of-life systems already using app control now. So this is something that's very advantageous. And by the way, end-of-life, not just Windows, we're talking Windows, Linux, Mac, it doesn't matter. We secure any operating system. Most of operating systems, of course, I don't like saying any in any case. Again, we know nothing is 100%, but we have a huge list of supported OSs, starting from end-of-life ones all the way to the current versions available. Okay. So one of the nice things is that our technology works very flexibly. We don't care where the management is deployed. You can deploy it in your data center on-premise. You can deploy it in Azure, in AWS, Google Cloud Platform, even your own private cloud. And actually, we have a funny story related to a customer. They almost literally, and this is a customer in the US, they almost literally moved their data center by forklifts into another location, which was basically designated as a private cloud. And those servers, they had app control set up, and everything kept working exactly the same way, even though some other technologies, they faced some issues, even their own AV faced some issues. They had to, do some other functions, but our technology kept working exactly the same, secured their environment fully without any kind of, issues that could impact their security. Okay. So this is actually a very advantageous point I'd like to mention as well. Okay. So this is one of my favorite slides, honestly, because this is what we do, okay? This is what our Carbon Black app control does. So how it works, basically straightforward, extremely simple. You just install our agent in visibility mode. Visibility mode means learning. Let's call it that, okay? So as soon as we install our agent, and this is what I mentioned before. This is one of the key advantages, in my opinion, and based on multiple other tests, is the key differentiators for our Carbon Black app control is that it does visibility, and this visibility is assigned locally for each machine. Okay, so what does that mean? So basically, let's say I install Carbon Black app control. Okay, we have 1,000 machines. We have 10,000 machines. So let's go to the higher number. Let's go to 20,000, 30,000. Okay. Our environment is huge. It could be small, could be huge. It doesn't matter. In both cases, usually we have the number of administrators that matches this environment. And what we don't want is to dedicate our administrators to go through each and every app and either approve it or deny it, for example, or globally approve some applications and then find out that, you know, we don't want it running on the one user machine, or our marketing team is using Adobe. We don't want anybody else to use it, but they're using it, so we have to quickly do this kind of control. Otherwise, you know, they're going to be impacted. And this causes a lot of issues and causes a lot of wasted time. I've seen this live. I've done this POC with multiple customers against other vendors. We've seen this happen. Most of our customers are very, very appreciative to the time we save for them. Okay. So again, how do we save this time? Once we finish our visibility, what we do is we create, and this is a metaphor, not exactly what happens, but it's very, very similar to the idea, is we create a database of the applications on each and every user machine. Okay. This database is stored on the machine itself. Of course, everything is you know, shared with the management. The administrators can view it from their side. But for my description or for my explanation, I'll mention how it's stored on the machine. Once it's stored on the machine, and then you start applying the application control. Let's go straight to high enforcement. Okay. So high enforcement means nothing will run on your machine unless it's approved by IT. Nothing. Everything you try to run, no matter what it is, it has to be approved by IT. So from the way it sounds, you know, this will cause a lot of issues. But then because of how we work with visibility, we actually can allow, we actually can allow all the users to store the current applications they are using. So marketing team, they have Adobe. IT, they don't have Adobe. They have, you know, infrastructure related applications. Finance, they're using, you know, multiple other technologies, stuff like Excel or whatever else, and all these things. So whoever has applications 1 to 10 on their machine, these applications, we now know they have it. So this is the first thing. You have visibility. The second thing is, as soon as you start applying enforcement, you actually use their visibility, their stored database or the files that applications that you found on their machines, and you allow them to use it immediately. So the benefit here is basically, and this is what would happen once you have high enforcement running, is your marketing team will continue working. They'll open Adobe, it's going to work normally. They're going to open, you know, whatever other application they're using, Firefox, Chrome, everything else working perfectly. While IT, if they try to run Adobe, you know, they never had Adobe before. So if they try to run Adobe, they won't be able to run it. Okay, it will be part of the approval cycle. And then going to finance, you know, they're going to be able to run Notepad++ because they use it, but they're not going to be able to use, you know, also Adobe. So this kind of approach, it helps you implement zero trust very, very quickly. It helps you implement the full whitelisting function very, very quickly. And then you can actually use this as a stepping stone and then start, instead of creating your allow list, you start blocking specific applications one by one. You know, our users are using Adobe all versions. I don't want them to do that. I want only Adobe, the latest version to run. You can actually allow or deny all other Adobe versions. Okay. So yeah, you can actually control even by application version, which is one of the key things as well. All this, of course, is available as part of the inventory we will show in production, hopefully when we're done. Okay, so this is visibility. Like I said, I kind of mentioned everything in one go, but let me give a very brief each one what it does. Like I said, visibility will be the stepping stone. This will give you the database. It will give you the inventory of everything that's happening in the environment. Okay, inventory including you know, files, executable files, of course, applications, any device connected, any device disconnected. All these things are going to be available for you. Law enforcement is the same as visibility, with only one difference, that you can actually apply blacklisting. So for some users, they say, our IT department, we're not going to apply any enforcement, any whitelisting. We'll apply the same standard blacklisting for them. Okay. So blacklisting runs with law enforcement. Law enforcement means you allow everything to run, but you report it. Okay. So you allow everything to run, even if it's unapproved. But then when a user tries to run, let's say Firefox, like I mentioned before, Firefox old version, it's not gonna run because you put it in the ban list or in the block list. Okay, so like I said, it's not up to this point, it's not whitelisting, it's more blacklisting. Okay, that's the easiest explanation. There's other in the understanding because you don't just block based on a blacklist. You can have some controls related to how the user accesses the registry. So any kind of block control, forced block control you do will work in law enforcement. Okay. Medium enforcement. Medium enforcement, this is where white listing starts. Usually medium enforcement is not used in some environments because it means the user is allowed to approve his own application. Okay. So let's say if you in your environment, you have app control set up. So why did you get app control? Okay. So based on everything I mentioned before, give it a minute. Let's think. Why do I have app control? Some users will say, and again, this is based on actual environments. Some user told us, we have a lot of applications. We have no visibility on any of the applications. I don't mind the users running or installing these applications, but they need to know what's happening. If an application is starting and they did not start it, or they started it by mistake, like they're trying to install something, or let's say Firefox ran a background application trying to install a file, I want the user to know what's running and to approve it if they want it to run. Okay. So this is medium enforcement. But usually it's not used in our region or in a lot of customers because usually the core use case is different. So the core use case is usually, I want to implement high enforcement. I want to make sure that nothing runs and the user is not allowed to run anything unless it's approved by IT. Okay. And this is our high enforcement technology. And once you reach high enforcement, this is where you start having a workflow. The workflow can, by the way, integrate with any ticketing system, most ticketing systems. We have an open API integration. We can integrate with your ticketing system so the administrator can do the approval. So for example, even if you have someone wanting to allow an application and they need it quickly, you can actually do this from the ticketing system, which usually has a lot of easier access for you. So we help you with this as well. Okay. Okay, so we do the allowing. So I mentioned everything from how we control everything else, how we create the database and applications and everything. And then I mentioned how we make it easier for you to do the approvals. So you don't have to go through each and every application, for example. So we have something called approval lists, all right? You can allow or deny with or without these lists. So the mechanisms include either IT and cloud-driven trust. This is something that's actually very important. This is the only thing that requires direct internet access or continuous internet access. So in any cloud, in any air-gapped network, this is the only thing that's not going to be available. Okay. So what does it do? We have our own cloud-based database. It includes all our customers' trust level for all applications. Okay. Of course, hash values only, no actual applications are stored. And this gives us visibility to the kind of risk each application can have, including some malware assessment, because we also have our own malware database, which, it's basically signature based, but it also helps with your environment. And for your info, this is something that happened about a month ago. We were implementing this in a production environment with a customer, and we actually found that this customer had a couple of malicious applications running in the background, and their AV did not see it. Our app control raised it as a flag, And by using their database list, they were able to block it immediately. They didn't have to do anything else. So you can say in our environment, if this file is untrusted or this file is suspected of being malicious, something like that, you can immediately block this file. Okay. Second thing is trusted publishers. So I trust Microsoft, for example. Okay. I would trust Microsoft. I want everything that's Microsoft to run immediately. I'll just trust Microsoft as a publisher, and anything that has the Microsoft official trusted publisher certificates, it will be allowed. Okay, and for reference, because I've had this question asked before, even if the publisher certificate is added and someone embedded some kind of code, this change is part of the trusted certificate, and this actually is assessed by us and considered not trusted. Okay. So next is rapid configuration. I'll mention rapid configuration when we get to it in the demo. I think it's better because it's very powerful. But just very briefly, what it is, it's a bundle of rules that we have already created to help our customer. And I'll show you some of the examples live in our demo. Okay. We also have custom rules. So basically, you can create anything we mentioned before, and a lot of things that we haven't mentioned, a lot of controls and features like registry, memory, processes, all these things. You have your own custom rules you can create, and you can utilize. Okay. And of course, we integrate with a lot of third parties. Like I said, we have an open API system, so we can integrate with a lot of things when it comes to SIM solution, for example, logging, reporting. We integrate with ticketing systems, email systems, and so on. All right. So this is basically the last slide when it comes to my presentation. I only have one more slide, which is what we'll say in the demo. But before then, this is basically my summary. What are the differentiators? We mentioned everything. I hope everything was very clear. But yeah, I think we're done for the presentation. If someone has any questions, let's go through them. So I can actually help you and show you some of it. If it's viable, I'll show it to you in the demo as well. So let's see the messages.
Yeah, Omar. So we have received one question. Is it supported with the existing SAP agent?
Yes. Yes, definitely. Like I said, this is actually the question I saw. We integrate with any AV. We work alongside any AV in the environment. We are vendor agnostic when it comes to app control. We do have some integrations, but we are vendor agnostic. Yusuf, I think if you can just type in your question as well.
Please. All right, so we can move to the demo then, Omar, and we can cover the rest of the questions after.
Sure, no worries. Hopefully not too many questions because it's very clear, not because it's not understood. So, okay, let's keep going. Okay, so what I'll go through in the demo. This is the agenda for the demo, basically. And this is how do we regulate and how do we go through our environment. Okay, so the first thing I'll go through is visibility. How do we secure our files, apps, assets, and vulnerability. I'll show you not how we do it. For this first part, I'll show you the visibility part, how we help you see what's happening in your environment. Okay. Second is I'll show you how we block untrusted software. It's nice to say it. I said, and we confirmed that this is actually criteria based on the common criteria vector, which is official trusted resource and all these things. But like they always say, seeing is believing. So I'll show you untrusted software being blocked. I'll show you Yusuf, Linux. Most Linux servers are valid. We work with, but for a specific kernel or specific version, I need to go back to the documentation. So we can get back to you for that. Okay. Second thing is block untrusted software. Like I said, I already mentioned that. I'll also show you PowerShell and command blocking. So one of the things that I've seen, and these are things that are based on actual live environments. Okay. So one of the things that I've seen a lot of customers complain about is the administrators, some of the PowerShell commands that they're using, some of the Windows tools that they're using, stuff like that. And I will show you how we control this through app control. So basically we mitigate local admin rights. So even if a user is the local admin running through Active Directory, local admin, or even if it's a domain administrator, I'm sure you all know that a domain administrator is able to do anything on any machine. This is the highest level of security power on any Windows machine in your environment, okay? We actually control this user, not the user itself, but the actions the user does. And this is what I'll show you as well. I'll show you something that's very interesting. It was raised by some customers, mainly, and I'll tell you the use case. So software metering basically gives you an idea or an exact number of how many people are using a specific application. Okay, so this was raised by a customer who had, I think it was Adobe, one of the Adobe suites, and they bought the license for 1,000 user, and their environment, all their users were running it, and they needed it to run, or that's what they told the administrators. So they purchased the license, and they've been paying for it for years, and they wanted to understand, who is using this, actually using this application, and how many times is it being used. Okay, so using software metering, you can actually see this. And they started getting clear results on who is using it, how many times they're using it, who actually doesn't use it, which helped them a lot when it came to licensing. And this is just one example. There's a lot of other scenarios as well, of course. Rapid configs I mentioned. I'll go through all details of rapid configs very, very quickly. Something that we're not going to test in the demo, but I want you to see it as well, is the policy override. So one of the key issues when it comes to app control, and one of the top questions that will likely come up in any customer environment is, so how do we override? So let's say a user is home. If a user is inside the network, inside our environment, we'll manage it somehow. But if a user is at home and they want to run an application, it's very urgent, all right? The application is not pre-approved. This user could be IT, and we want this user to be able to run it. So how do we allow him to do this without, even if he's offline, so he's not connected to our server, how do we run or give him the code to allow the policy override? So we have this part of our technology. We give you offline overrides. We allow the user to be able to do overrides based on your rule. So you would tell him, for example, I will give this user the ability to run a file to lower the security instead of high enforcement, for example, to low enforcement. So I still apply blacklisting, but the user will be able to run any file, and it will be added automatically to the local approved list, which means after the duration of the override, it will continue working normally. And all this happens offline. The user doesn't have to connect to the environment to get this data, okay? I will end with basically two things, the file integrity monitoring and some reporting information. Reporting, I'll show you some of the reporting we have in the dashboard and stuff like that, but for reference, everything I will show you and everything we will see can be sent to SIM solution, can be integrated with API. So this is something also that's very advantageous when it comes to using our technology. Okay, so I'll stop sharing here just for 1 minute. I'll switch to my lab environment. Just give me 1 moment, please. All right. So, May, can you just confirm that this is visible?
Yes, absolutely. I can see it from my end. Thank you.
Okay, very good. All right, so first things first, I'll start with, I'll actually start from the end. I'll start with the user function. Okay, just so you understand the setup I have in my lab. Right now I'll do everything on one machine. I have two users, the admin user, which has enforcement, medium level enforcement. So they are able to enforce or allow any action in their environment, okay? As long as it's approved. As long, I mean, as it's allowed that they can prompt. And second is a business user, just to understand what's happening. And this business user will switch to when we go to at the end when it comes to file integrity monitoring mainly. Okay. Okay, so until it logs in, of course, everything here is integrated with Active Directory. So admin user over there is an AD user. Omar, this is my admin account. This is an AD account. And even the business user is also an Active Directory account, okay? All right, so one of the first things that is important is to understand assets. So let's see visibility first. Instead of going to the technology first, let's just look at what we give you when it comes to inventory. So the first thing is the systems. So for each and every Windows machine, you're able to see what kind of environment it has. So the model, the processor, installed memory, operating system, and if it's virtualized or not. Okay, and we even tell you if it's, you know, Hyper-V or VMware or whatever. Okay, so for my testing, I put it as Hyper-V just to understand the difference. Okay, this is even the Active Directory details and so on. So you get to see all the information you want. This is the synchronization is the what I consider what I call visibility only. So in the initial visibility, we do initialization and synchronization. We understand all the files, we understand all the applications, like I said, and then we start going forward. Okay, ease of use. You're inside the user machine. You want to immediately start knowing what files are on this machine. You just click on files on this machine. These are all the executable files available and running on this machine. Okay, keep in mind, it doesn't have to be running because I said running. It's not. It's available. It's there. Even if it's never run before, as long as we learn this file or application, we will alert you and give you the update for it. Okay. So for example, these are things that I just tried to, not tried. These are things that I installed today or downloaded today. Okay. As part of our testing, of course. So one of the cool things here is you can very easily find any file and know which user has these files. So let's say Firefox. Okay. So you can search for any file that contains the name Firefox, and it will give you all machines that have it. Okay. And any file that has this name. This is something that's very interesting as well. Okay. Also for visibility, I have a pre-existing, and this is something that's very cool. We give you for everything that we show you, everything that I will show you, you can, like I said, send it as a log to a SIM solution or something like that. And also you can also see it, you can create your own view. So it becomes very easy for you to just immediately go to what you want, okay? So here I created the view, I called it file version control, and it gives me ability to understand any Chrome application, any file that's called Chrome that's running in our environment, and even the versions we have. So right now, I only have one version of Chrome. Yep. Oops. So actually, you can actually select, like you see, each and every one. These are the actual applications from the environment. And so this is one of them. So right here, for example, I have Firefox on multiple machines. And on one specific machine, it's an older version. Okay, so this is what we look for. This is what one of these things we can do. And of course, we can group it, for example, by product version. So it's easier to understand. So you have Firefox version 135, you have one machine using it, and Firefox version 143, three machines using it. Okay, so this is a very nice, I think this showcases very clearly how we approach the idea of asset inventory of applications and files. Okay, this is files. Okay, let me show you applications. So these are the applications themselves. All right. See, these are all the applications running on the user environment right now. Okay. Of course, you can, like we saw before, you can select applications running on each and every user machine. This is the catalog that combines all of them. So, for example, this one shows Carbon Black App Control Agent running on 3 computer machines. Okay. If you see it here, you'll have Carbon Black 3 times for each machine and so on. So what's so nice about application visibility is basically CPE and CVE. So I don't just show you the application itself, I integrate with NIST to show you the vulnerability for these applications, the vulnerability that you're facing and the level for each one. So for example, Internet Explorer, this version, this is a very highly ranked vulnerable application, and I can click here to see the most dangerous CVE related to this application. Of course, this is NIST, just gives you all the details of everything happening. Okay. And what's cool about it is that you actually see where these things are present. So you can actually see, how many times it's present, how many vulnerability for each application or for each item is available, and so on. And this, of course, helps you take immediate action because you can just immediately go to computers. You understand that this is a vulnerability of an application on this computer, and then you start taking your action there immediately. Okay. So I'd like for the demo, if it's okay with everyone, please ask questions as we go. It's going to be easier if you ask me any question related to a specific part I'm at this time. So I can give you more information if you need. Okay. All right. So, and of course, to do this, I'll pause between each part I'm going through just to give you this chance. So now we've seen visibility. All right. So we've seen, like I mentioned before, we've seen files, what files are available in the environment. We've seen what applications are available in this environment, the assets in my environment, of course, the assets for each user machine and so on, and the vulnerability that we have in the files or in this environment as well. Okay. Now let's go immediately to the core of the technology. We keep saying that the core of the technology is block untrusted software. So I downloaded Firefox Portable. I don't know if anyone has tried to use this before. There are some applications you can immediately use as portable instead of installing it directly. This usually bypasses some of the security controls implemented in an environment. So Firefox Portable is one of them. You try to run it. For us, it's immediately blocked. Okay. And this is the cool part, is here, the administrator, because the admin is part of the medium enforcement group, I actually allow him, I give him the details, and I give him the option to allow this operation. Okay. So this is something that's very interesting, because as soon as he clicks allow, Firefox start running. Okay. So this is the portable version of Firefox. Just for your info, Firefox in general is allowed. So this is totally different than it's not the idea of allowing Firefox in general would allow everything else. Okay. So that's the untrusted software. So one of the key use cases, I think that I've seen this a lot of times. I've seen this happening with a lot of customers, especially as part of key. And I'm running command prompt as an administrator for this reason. One of the key issues that we always face is the idea of how an attacker can actually access your environment. And just by going through your environment, they're able to run multiple scripts that are basically Windows, ps-exec, ps-kill, ps-ping, all these are Windows files. They're available directly from Windows itself. It's an official application. ps-exec is basically PowerShell execute, it allows you to run scripts remotely. So you can, so attackers use this usually to move laterally in your environment. So they infect or they attack one machine, and then they immediately start going from one machine to another, running scripts using ps-exec as an example, okay? Some attackers are a bit smarter than this. They don't just run the script because some AVs would identify this. They would actually try to run the PS kill, which is similar to exec, but it kills processes remotely. So they would actually try to, for example, kill your AV, okay? And this would immediately, of course, impact your security. Okay, so we got another question. Okay, so I'll stop for a second. I'll just mention, because one question I didn't see is, can Carbon Black App Control patch vulnerable applications? No, we give you exact details, and we already secure, we secure everything related to the file, but the file itself can run normally as long as you don't block it. So we give you the vulnerable version. For example, from our test, we show you that Office was vulnerable. Internet Explorer was vulnerable. Version whatever, version 11, let's say. You as an administrator, you are allowed, you're able to block Internet Explorer version 11 from running ever again. And this is just one click. We can when I go back to the interface, we can show you how to do it. It's extremely simple. And this is basically how you control. So we don't resolve the issue, but we actually resolve the threat itself. It's immediately blocked. It's no longer available for infecting your environment or as a vulnerability in your environment. Okay, so back to the scenario. The other question is not exactly related to this immediately, so I'll get back to it. The other scenario, so Firefox, portable, we ran it. We tested it, we now know. ps-exec, ps-kill, ps-ping. So I mentioned ps-exec, it runs executables remotely. ps-kill kills processes remotely. ps-ping, it's usually local, it just enables some ping functions on your local machine. So the risk here is, what if my administrators are infected? So I'm running local administrator. The administrator is running command prompt as a totally admin function. And the administrator would be very easily able to say ps-exec. So ps-exec in this case would allow something very, very specific. This allows the user to, like I said, to run files remotely, and now I blocked it. And I didn't just block it. If you can see here, I don't know if you noticed before, in the Firefox portable, we had an allow option available because this was okay. Firefox is a normal executable. We allow the user is able to bypass the administrator to bypass and use it. But even the local administrator is trying to run ps-exec, it's blocked. Okay, it's blocked, and there's no way for him to bypass. The only thing he can do is, for example, send to administrators, justification, need this to run specific task. Okay, and usually with AD they will have their email. I don't have an email, but in my AD. But anyway, and then you just click submit. So what happens here is, I'll show you this in the admin tab, in the admin environment. So what happens here is, he is not allowed to do this. His request to do this action is sent immediately to the administrator, and once they approve, it will be able to run. Okay. So I think this answered the last question, the one discussing how we block scripts running from trusted apps. So right now I'm using a trusted app. I'm using command prompt. So Muhammad mentioned this question. He's saying, how can we block fileless malware or scripts running via trusted apps? So right now I'm using command prompt, which is a trusted app. If I use PowerShell, same exact thing. Okay, I blocked PowerShell. Anyway, so right now, if I try to run, like I said, using command prompt, first of all, this is a trusted command prompt application. I can run Firefox from here. It would work normally. Of course, as you notice, it ran immediately, even though it was blocked before, because the administrator allowed it. So by allowing it once, it's always ready to run again. If I try to run ps-exec, which is the current scenario we were testing, ps-exec, ps-kill, keep in mind this is one of the very direct samples of attacks that happens in actual customer environments. It's immediately denied. Same for ps-kill. So I tried ps-exec, ps-kill, and then as an administrator, I understand that ps-ping is trusted, is a safe command. It's okay to be run. The user is allowed to run it. Okay. See, ps-ping, it started and it asked me for, the script I need and so on. So this is a very, very direct approach to show you how we block applications and scripts. There's also something else, by the way. So we're talking about how we control the environment. And as you can see, this machine, by the way, I installed the app control on this machine basically 3 days ago. I let it do its learning mode. I only approved one publisher certificate. I think it was something related to Microsoft, and that's it. I added a few rules, of course, for testing and for our demo, but that's all I did. Okay. As you can see, it's working normally. I don't keep getting pop-ups. I don't keep getting errors and stuff like that. Everything is working as normal. If I open Firefox, works immediately. Everything is working normally. But then this is what happens. Let's say I go to Notepad. Notepad++ is trusted application. I have it trusted from my side. The version I'm using is 8.5.4. The version now, the latest version is 8.8.5. So if I'm asked to get the update, usually all users will just say yes. So this is where we come in. So by default, what is happening now? Right now, the user is trying to update an application. This application has not been tested by IT before. If it was tested, by the way, and the IT allowed it globally, this will never pop up to a user. Okay. But then if this didn't happen before, like you see, it's totally blocked. Again, as an IT administrator and with medium policy enforcement, he's able to allow it. Okay. But of course, he can also block. All right. So I think this covers also all the block actions, or most of the block actions, including our PowerShell and command blocking. I think I showcased also how we mitigated the local admin permissions, because right now this is an actual local admin using trusted command prompt, which is trusted application that's able to run everything except applications like the applications that I did not allow. Okay. So let's go back a bit. Let me show you something that I mentioned. Software metering. So I mentioned how we control, we only allow specific applications from running. So right now, this is, let me just do 1 second. Okay. So of course, this is all the events. I'll just mention this quickly. These are all the events that's happening. Everything the administrator or the user, administrator on the server, or the user in the environment does is logged here. Okay. So everything happens, even the metered execution. So I did, metering for Firefox. So I'll show you Firefox as a software meter. So if you remember the story I mentioned for Adobe as an example, this is where it lies. So right now I said, set Firefox, tell me, you can either set file name or hash. And I said, I want how many executions are happening on how many computers and from how many users. So right now I have 2 computers, 4 users doing this, and they ran the file 24 times. Okay. So I got another question related to system lockdown. Whitelisting basically runs by learning the application. We will learn everything on your environment. So all the files, including everything that's system files as well, everything will be learned. And like I said, if you want a very quick win, if you want to run a application control immediately, which is, let's say, not 100% recommended in most cases, but in specific environments or specific requirements, it is available, that you can run our application for 3 days. It will learn and initialize, understand all the executable files in your environment, and then you immediately switch to control. That's it. Now control is running. Like I said, user, I'm a user here. I'm using everything normally. There's nothing that's blocked. Everything is working as expected. No issues whatsoever. Okay. All right. So I'm going back to, I'm just checking quickly the things I mentioned in the demo plan. So the next thing is, let me show you policy overrides first. I was going to show you rapid configs. Let me show you policy overrides first. So policy overrides is extremely simple. And by the way, you can do this also with API integration through ticketing system if you need. Not always recommended, but you can. And this is how simple it is. You will go to the policy override on this specific machine, even if the user is offline. He's not connected to your environment, he's offline, he's at home, and he needs to run an application. You will enable, let's say, low monitoring unapproved or local approval. Local approval means anything he runs is automatically approved locally for next steps. Okay? You set the time. How long do you want this approval to run? We have a maximum of 500 minutes. And finally, how long this code is valid for. So the code cannot be reused. If the user uses it once, it cannot be reused again. And that's it. You just generate the code. This code, you share it with the user. He will implement it, add it to his admin, not the admin, add it to the agent. And that's it. He's able to use or run whatever applications he needs, even if he's at home with no internet connections, which is, I think, very advantageous because I've had this question asked before multiple times. Okay. We have 10 more minutes. I'll go quickly for within the last few parts so we can have a chance to answer any other questions. I think I'm as much as possible following the questions one by one, but you know, just to have more time. So rapid configs. Like I said, rapid configs are pre-existing policies that we already created for you based on a lot of other customer environments and a lot of customer requirements. For example, Linux hardening. So Linux hardening, as you can see, anyone who knows Linux, these are the files that are needed. We can actually report usage of these files and we can block usage of these files. And we allow specific applications or specific, processes to use these files. So it doesn't impact the Linux operating system. Okay, so that's one thing. Something that's very interesting for me was actually the PowerShell, the ransomware protection and PowerShell. So ransomware protection, so out of box, we can actually help you prevent specific applications from encrypting anything on your machine. Okay, for example, we can allow you, and this is the beauty of it being pre-built. So you just read what it is. You can have more details here. You know, we give you more details, clarifying exactly what's going on. And of course, okay, let me go back one step. Anybody who has seen or has been through any ransomware, they know that one of the biggest attack vectors of a ransomware is document files, Excel files, basically office-related files and images. So these are the core of the attack of a ransomware. So we actually built for you a pre-built policy that can either report in-place encryption of any file. And by the way, you can actually exclude specific, for example, we have our own technology, which is semantic PGP. It encrypts files and operating files and disks and so on. You can actually allow PGP to encrypt files in place, which is process allowed. Everything else, no. So you block users from doing anything that can encrypt a file in place, except if it's through our trusted or your trusted encryption software, okay? You can prevent renaming and deleting of document files. Of course, not by users, but by specific processes. You can prevent renaming and deleting of image files, other files. It's very, very in-depth, and even block access of VSS admin deleting shadow copies. I think this is one of the key things when it comes to ransomware is if you're using shadow copies, one of the ransomware first steps is deleting the shadow copy. So we actually prevent this action. We prevent this deletion of the copies to prevent the ransomware from kicking off and deleting any history of files. Okay. Of course, these are just two of the examples. We have many, many more. We have crypto mining protection. We even have browser protection against, applications and so on. One of the last things I'll mention here is SCCM. Most of our customers use either SCCM or other software deployment tools. And the way it works usually is that SCCM or another software tool pushes the file to a specific folder using a specific user to run this file. We built this for you. So nothing except this user running from this folder will be allowed. So now we allow SCCM to run, totally safe. It will be trusted immediately. Anybody else, even if a normal administrator user tries to run a file from this folder, which is for SCCM, it will not be allowed. Okay. So like I mentioned, there's publishers. You can trust publishers, specific publishers. You can set updaters. I'm not going to go through everything because it's very, very in-depth. There's a lot of information. I'll only go through the things that I've been asked about a lot, which is, for example, YARA rules. We actually provide you the option to add your own YARA rule to give even more information and logging and so on. You can create a fingerprint, okay? Of any machine. So you're able to see the drift. We call it a drift. So you're able to see the drift before and after. So let's say you create an application image. It's not really called an image, but you create an application checkpoint. And then after 1 week, you want to see what changed within this week. You're able to see this very clearly. Okay. Now, the last two things, I think we've gone through reporting mainly. I was going to leave it for last, but again, it's right here. This is the dashboard. You can customize everything in the dashboard. Everything that I've gone through, you can put a sample or a link here, so it's very easy to get to. Yeah, and this is the drift dashboard. Okay, so let me show you one last thing. I think this is something that I've been asked a lot about, which is file integrity monitoring and control. So right now I'm an admin user. As an admin user, I open system file. This is a sample of a system file on the environment. Okay, the system file I try to edit. It doesn't have to be text, of course. If I try to edit the file and save, as you can see, I'm blocked. I'm not even given the option to send a request for administrator because this is a totally prevented action. There's no chance for me to do this. Okay, so this is the step 1 of file control. Step 2 is reporting. Of course, this is just a log for reporting. We show you that the file has been edited. We don't show you what changed. And finally, the business file. The business file, I don't even have access to open it. Okay, so this is also something that I've been asked about before. I think I already answered this question, Mohammed. No, we don't log the file changes, but we log that there has been changes. Okay. But we provide the full logging of everything that's happened in this folder or this file as high level, who deleted the files, who edited the files, who copied the files, this kind of log. Okay, so it's very nice to see this. But then what would a business user see? So there's only 2 things I want to show you on the business environment. Okay, one of the things that is very nice is actually the rule I'm using here currently was the default policy, which is high enforcement. Okay, sorry, the add user based policy, which is the medium enforcement. This is what I was using with my administrator. Right now, just by logging in with the other user, which is mapped through Active Directory, immediately the user gets the default policy, which is high enforcement. Okay, so this is also something that I've been asked about before. What happens when users are switching, or if an administrator needs to run something on a machine quickly and so on. So this is what happens. Okay, very simply and very quickly, system file, same exact thing. Both administrator, local administrator, and normal users are not allowed to save it, to change it, I mean. Save, same thing. Okay. Reporting file, it's a logging file, it's fine. Business file, I'm able to open it. Okay. So this is something that just adds a layer of security for file integrity and control, and gives you the visibility you need. And of course, everything is logged here in events. And like I mentioned, everything can be created into saved views, which helps you, quickly get to what you want to reach. So this is the blocked unproved scripts that we mentioned. Okay, this is other script as well, but anyway, this is the file policy enforcement. This is the file that I tried to edit. As you can see, system file read only. This is the business file that I tried to open and it was blocked. File integrity monitoring. This is the reporting actions. So now you can see that, read, report, write. Someone changed the file. Someone wrote something in the file. Okay. And finally, of course, unapproved executables. So this leaves one last thing, is the approval request. Very quickly, you go immediately to approval. As an administrator, this is the PS exec request the admin tried. You just go here, you click either. If you click open, it becomes something similar to a ticket, but you can very easily from here approve file locally. So only the administrator of this machine will be able to run this file. Approve it globally, so everybody in the organization will be able to run it, or ban it globally. So no one in the organization will ever be able to run this file. Okay? This is how simple it is. And like I said, this can be integrated with the ticketing system. So the request, this page can be viewed from the ticketing system and controlled. Okay? And I'm done. Just the last thing that I always like to mention is this big red button. The lockdown button. If you're getting a ransomware, if you're getting a risk, if the SIMS team is telling you we're being attacked in any way, you just click this one button. Even if everyone is in low enforcement mode, everybody will go into high enforcement. This will become temporary until all the risk has been resolved. And as soon as you click it, everything, if we go to the rules, you'll find everybody is high enforcement. Okay, template, this is different, that's why, but everybody went to high enforcement. And as soon as we click it again, you're immediately back, restore. Everybody is back to the correct policy that they were used to have before. Okay. That's it. I'm done. If anybody has other questions, May, can you help me with the questions also to see it?
Yeah, I believe we have just received another question. Could you please show us the FIM policy created for blocking the modification of system file, business files?
Definitely. If you go to custom, I created it as custom just to make it very easy to showcase if I need. These are the policies. So right now, the one created for business, this is the file integrity restrict business file. So this is an expert policy. Usually we recommend expert policies to be done with a Broadcom expert or support. But then the expert policy gives you the control to run and enable a lot of features. Usually I don't show this in the demo, but since you asked, I'm showing it here. It gives you the ability to control everything that can happen with the file. So a lot of very, very in-depth commands and scripts. So yeah, but like I said, this is not part of information. Let's go back to a normal kind of policy, which is custom. So this is like protecting system files, very, very straightforward. You just select file integrity control and you just click block, and that's it. File will not be able to be edited by anybody. This is the one that we did.
So I hope, Mohammed, that was clear for you, or if you have further questions, please feel free to share it here. Also, I believe we have got a question earlier. Is it possible to do an initial implementation within 3 to 4 days, as you have said, in case the client himself is not sure exactly which application are being run on the server with the agent?
Yes, like I said, okay. If we're talking production, honestly speaking, it's not always recommended to do this because once you do this initial setup, the initial setup will give you all the asset information. So you'll get all the computer information, you'll get all the files, you'll get the applications, even the devices, by the way, because I didn't mention this. All the devices that were connected at this time. And you can actually block and allow devices as well. But then if you're using it in production, you always face some changes that could be very quick. So that's why in production, we usually recommend applying visibility first within 3-4 days maximum. As soon as you're done with the visibility, you go to low enforcement. Within low enforcement, you already start banning and blocking specific files and applications and start testing the high enforcement as you go. And that's it. So yes, it is. It can be done within 3-4 days, but it's always recommended to just have a bit more time for testing and so on. Okay.
Perfect. I see that we ran out of time. So thank you so
Yes.
much, Omar, for such a great, very clear presentation. And thank you all for joining us today. I really appreciate if you can complete the short survey that you will be receiving before you leave. And the session recording as well will be shared with you all the soonest. However, if you would like to have further discussion about Carbon Black, or if you want to schedule a demo, please reach us at info@mbcom.com. We truly appreciate your time today, and we look forward to welcome you in our upcoming webinars. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you,
Omar.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.